Hello, this is Michael Hexter. Welcome to Politics 2100 here on YouTube. So this episode I'm calling Anti-Vax Right-Wing Truck Convoys, sticking it to quote-unquote the man by sticking it to themselves. So anyway, we now have a truck convoy in Washington, D.C. This is an imitation of the Canadian truck convoys, and there also have been other trucker convoys in some other countries. It is pretty much a right-wing cause célèbre in terms of the support that they get from right-wing either individuals or organizations, and they are like Don Quixote. They're jousting against windmills that they imagine, or really imaginary foes, not necessarily windmills, but imagined opponents. In this case, vaccine mandates and mask mandates, which currently probably, and this is actually not a good thing. They're not currently on the books, and they're not currently being enforced, except for a very few exceptional circumstances, and including healthcare facilities and so forth and so on, and also some private businesses that continue to, in states where they're not prohibited from having such mandates, are enforcing those mandates. But anyway, but whether or not there are mask mandates, I mean, it is ridiculous that they've picked this imaginary foe or this non-existent foe. But what I'm commenting on in this video is this is really a widespread. This is just one instance of really a widespread and long-standing attitude on the right wing that is just taking a new form, both in the COVID-19 pandemic and also more recently in the form of these truck convoys. And this is a phenomenon where the right wing is imagining itself to be shaking its fist at quote unquote the man. So they're sticking it to the man by, in this case, fighting against these vaccine mandates. The man in this case is public health common sense, and they imagine the government implementing public health common sense. In this case, the government is not implementing public health common sense as regards most aspects of the COVID-19 pandemic. They've basically given up in the last 3 months, 4 months, and have just sort of allowed the pandemic to rip pretty much, and are hoping for no significant emergence of a new variant, and this is something that is not likely to be true, in that we already have a new variant, BA.2, that is potentially going to come into, become more widespread, and it may be more severe than Omicron 1, which claimed about 200,000 lives in the United States. So anyway, but the leaving aside for the time being the government's lapses, the right wing is looking for this boogeyman to shake its fist at, to stick it to the man, the authorities, and to strike this rebellious pose. But what they're doing is they're sticking it to themselves. So this is where the ultimately self-defeating stance of these people in reality. Now, this is something that escapes their fantasy. So literally the fantasy they have of themselves, the self-image they have of themselves, is coated in layers of Americana, in terms of this, what I've called the cult of the deadly phallus sometimes. So this idea that one is, the truck, the massive semi, 18-wheeler truck, is part of this iconography of massive machines that Americans imagine are statements of their own prowess, their own invulnerability, their own masculinity, or even if they're women drivers, their own possession of a deadly phallus, so that they haven't sort of lost out in having this particular equipment, so to speak. But anyway, but this the idea is that they are sticking it to the man, that they are defying public health, which recommendations which they believe are wrong, or that they've come to believe they've been duped by the whole right-wing media ecosphere, and people like Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan and others. They've been misled in part because of their love of this stance of sticking it to the man, the idea that they're sticking it to the man. And the thing is, though, that they, in reality, so they are, in their imagination, they are living in this fantasy, and our society has provided them, or some also right-wing donors, but also our society has provided them with some of the advantages, for instance, of being able to ride around in a $500,000 piece of equipment, or whatever, somewhere around there, $500,000, $300,000, $400,000, massively fuel guzzling piece of equipment for weeks on end as a form of protest against an imaginary government policy that doesn't exist. And but this is all part of this stance of that is so beloved on the right wing, of being this rebel, okay, and a rebel without a real cause, let's say. And so, meanwhile, exactly in this case, but also in some other cases, this is sticking it to themselves, because they are endangering themselves and endangering the people around them by not taking precautions with regard to COVID-19, and also agitating against and making people feel intimidated about doing public health measures like wearing masks and so forth and so on, getting vaccinated, getting boosted. And so anyway, so this is but the right wing sticks it to themselves in other ways. They support politicians who undermine their own self-interest. The GOP undermines things like Medicare and Social Security, which many of these senior citizens or old people, or older people, who may be on the cusp of getting those benefits. They are trying to cut those things. They're a party of who are opposed to the working stiff, who these people claim to be advocates for, or claim to be themselves. Okay, that they are declaring the freedom, okay, of these people, freedom of the ordinary person from this dictates of quote unquote the man. Okay, and so this is a protest on an imaginary field, but what's also comical is, in a way, and there's some commentaries that show this, that these truckers are often very disturbed by people flipping them the bird, showing them the middle finger, and they make many comments about it. They don't understand why people they don't understand their own partisanship and aggressiveness that provokes aggressiveness and partisanship in other people who say, we don't want you around. You're snarling up traffic in our area. and we disagree with your ideas. So, and they're not prepared for a political dialogue, a political argument, because they think everyone should agree with them, that they simply should roll out the red carpet for them. And so it's paradoxical, it's inconsistent, but it's very, very much of the right wing to have such a stance. So, and also, I mean, we have politicians, we have like Ted Cruz and so forth, so on, who at CPAC gave a speech that was about being rebellious, and some of this inspiration for this particular video was listening to a snippet of Ted Cruz's speech at CPAC, where he, was saying that we should be an unruly people, and that he loves that kind of thing. And so this is all of this rebel in search of a cause, and also the stance of rebellion as being this declaration of toughness and of independence and so forth and so on, when these people are largely dupes of the big right-wing concerns in our country that want to hold on to power and want to keep, for instance, us wedded to fossil fuels, wedded to an economy that is destroying the basis of our ability to live on this planet, and they're oblivious to that who is actually benefiting from their agitation and their creation of various kinds of spectacles. And anyway, so I just wanted to put this out there because it seemed like a good distillation of a long-term right-wing attitude. And so if you can, if you have some examples that you have thought up or have witnessed over so on, if we want to put them in the comments, that would be great. If you are enjoying Politics 2100, please subscribe, and also please like this video if you are enjoying the content here, and I will see you in the next video.